I just thought I'd do a little survey. How many people are from Germany? Okay. How many people from California? 1, 2. Okay. How many people from Canada? 1, 2. Oh, no, Jim, you live in Salem now. How many people are here from somewhere else besides the metro? Where are you from?
Mexico.
Mexico. Great. Welcome. Hi. Michigan? Okay. And any place else? How many people? Okay, so within Oregon then, I assume, well, how many from Washington, state of Washington? Okay, 1, 2, and then how many from the Portland metro area? Okay. And then anybody from somewhere that I didn't mention? Salem, that's right. Anybody from Salem? Or where you? Gaston, Oregon. Okay, I didn't even know.
Forest Grove area.
Forest Grove, okay. Oh, it's kind of on the edge, I guess, of the metro area, right? Okay, good. Okay, where'd Matt go? So Matt, now, okay, so Matt's going to introduce the speakers, but while we're waiting for him to come back, I don't know where he went.
Where are you from?
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, my name's Tom Lipton. I'm with the Bureau of Environmental Services Ecoroof program, and oh, there's Matt. Okay, good. So then I'm not going to tell you a story. And no, come on. It's we have a schedule to keep. So thanks for participating in my little survey. And if you want the results, let me know.
Thanks, Tom. So, welcome. Thanks for being here today. My name's Matt Berlin. For anyone who wasn't here this morning, I gave a little introduction, but we've all been really excited to hear our guests today. So I do want to welcome everyone and thank you for being here, of course. And just get some thank yous and some logistics out of the way. First, I want to apologize on behalf of our director, Dean Marriott, who was going to introduce today, and he got pulled away on a very special meeting, and so I've been asked to come up and introduce. So he apologizes. He wished he was here, but he wasn't able to make it. I do want to thank our community partners, Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, Audubon Society of Portland, the Intertwine Urban Green Spaces Institute, and our sponsors, the Portland Business Journal and the Redirect Guide, as well as the Oregon Convention Center and our great event coordination team from Social Enterprises. So I want to thank everybody. It's a really big group effort to put on an event like this, so thank you. And then also my colleagues in Sustainable Stormwater Management for all the hard work that they've done as well. We're really excited to be at our 3rd annual Ecoroof Portland event, and this is the vendor fair portion of it. So I hope you've had a chance to walk around and meet the professionals that are really leading this industry forward. We have seen a lot of indications that we are reaching somewhat of a tipping point in this industry where we're seeing a lot more innovative types of projects. We're seeing a lot more applications on different types of buildings. We're seeing a lot more evolutionary stages of the industry as it's growing and as it's expanding. And we're seeing businesses that have been primarily working in this area reaching out to other areas and expanding their own personal businesses. So it's exciting to see that. And one of the things that we're really, really fortunate about is being able to connect into that worldwide framework. There's a different world out there for green roof geeks. And luckily we have one of our own local here, and we've met a lot of people across the world. And so within that framework, we're able to learn a lot from some of our partners and some of our friends that we've met along the way. If you were lucky enough early in the month to see Stefan Berneisen, he came from Switzerland and joined some of our teams to talk about designing eco-roofs for biodiversity and for habitat in city centers. We learned a great deal from him. We had some great presentations this month. Jim Labby spoke from the Audubon Society of Portland. We also heard from Derek Booth, stormwater expert at the city. We've tried to put together a lot of opportunities this month to give folks a number of different perspectives into how and why eco-roofs are so important. And so I hope that you've been able to take an opportunity to at least follow along on some of our documentation of that, or just been able to take a chance to get involved with those things. You're here today, so that's my greatest appreciation. So thanks very much. So I do want to welcome our first speaker, and we were lucky enough to hear Wolfgang Ansel speak last night briefly as we had a little gathering for our vendors. Wolfgang comes to us from Stuttgart in Germany, and he's the director of the International Green Roof Association. We were really excited that Wolfgang was able and willing to come visit us because for Portland, we're at a point now where this tipping point that we're talking about is pointing us in a direction where we really need to start thinking about what our steps are going to be in the long term. We have resources and we have incentives here that are designed to really help things move from an early stage to kind of a middle stage. And a lot of people are asking, well, what do we do next? A lot of us feel like Wolfgang is an expert in that field, and we're really excited to hear his presentation today. The mission for the International Green Roof Association includes worldwide promotion of the ecological green roof concept and the transfer of information in that field, and the stimulation of international standards and practices and reliable green roof technology. So it's very fitting that we're able to borrow some of that information and learn and then share some of what we've learned. So if you would join me in welcoming Wolfgang Ansel.
Yes, thank you very much, Matt, for that nice introduction. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. And the first thing I want to say is really thank you. Thank you for the invitation that I could come here to speak to you about our green roof experiences that we have within our network. This is not only a thank you to Matt, but also to Amy Chamovich. I met her 2 years ago at our conference in Stuttgart. Well, Jim was last year in Stuttgart, Jim Levy, where we had also a little excursion. And well, Tom, I met you 7 years ago. So what I realize is the green roof world is a very small world. And you meet the people, and within the small world, it is very important that you exchange your information and that you exchange your experiences. And this is one, Matt already mentioned that this is one of our aims within our network, the International Green Roof Association, is to stimulate this information exchange, because we see a lot of initiatives, green roof initiatives, all around the world, and we can learn from each other, because in the end, very often it is the same strategies or similar strategies. We have similar environmental problems, and so therefore it is very good to talk to each other and to exchange this information. Well, I would like to give you a very quick outlook on my presentation. First of all, I will speak a little bit about the green roof benefits and the selling points, but I think, Matt, maybe you have already presented that this morning about the benefits, so very often people are aware of the benefits. But I will also speak about the green roof market to give you an idea from our perspective what is important for the development, the successful development of a green roof market. And then I will share some information about the green roof policies in Europe, where we have a long tradition in some cities or in some countries, and also from North America and from Asia. And last but not least, I will give you a quick perspective of current trends and challenges, so what we are seeing maybe for the future. And so that is also, I think, something that is worth discussing with you. Well, the next slide, I think I can just go over that because Matt already introduced our organization. Well, yeah, it's all about sharing information. That is our main background. And so we have a website, we have newsletter service, we do seminars, conferences, all that kind of stuff in order to spread the idea of green roofs. Well, when it comes to the benefits and selling points for green roofs, I think we are in a very good situation because we have a very good environmental technology. We have a technology that has a lot of different features that are important for, on one hand, for the cities, but also on the other hand, for the house owners or for the investors. If you look at these pictures, you might see that some of them have green frames and some of them have yellow frames. So the one with the green frames, these are the ecological benefits. And when it comes to green roof policies, and yeah, that is my background for green roof policies, is that when it comes to regulations from cities or the government, normally the background are the ecological benefits and not the economic benefits. The economic benefits they can add as a kind of a better for the arguments, but the main driver for the green roof policies are the ecological benefits. And what we can see here on this slide is one of the big challenges that we are going to face for the next year. I'm sorry I did not translate that into English language. What you see is the city of Berlin. And this is the forecast of the increase of days with heat stress until the year 2050. Well, the yellow color means that the increase will be between 3 and 5 days, and the orange color means that it will be over 7 days. So on one hand, you can say, well, great, in Berlin we get Mediterranean climate, so people don't have to travel to Italy. They can stay in Berlin, that's perfect. But I have to say that this is just strongly connected with numbers of dead people. When we look back at the heat wave in 2003, it was just a very strong heat wave during the summer months, and now we have the numbers, and especially the older people, the people that are in need of care, a lot of them died, and the numbers for Europe were 70,000 people that died during this heat wave. So, and when you look at this forecast, and when you look at the demographic factor in Germany, so our population is getting older very fast, on a very fast range. So yeah, you can see that this is a topic that is very sensitive and that we have to take this into consideration when we're doing our urban planning and our city planning. And also the next slide gives you an impression what problems we have to face in the future. Do you happen to know what city this is? It's difficult. It's the city where I live, so it's not very famous, but it's not Venice. It's just a small city next to Stuttgart, 20 kilometers away. And we have a very small river there. Normally you can jump over this river, it's maybe half a meter. And this is a picture of last year. We had a stormwater event that brought us a rainfall of 100 liters per square meter within 3 hours. I'm sorry if you did not transfer that into feet, but it was, yeah, the people say 100-year event or something like that. So, yeah, what you can see is, yeah, that it cost us a lot of money in order to restore the demolition and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and the municipality said, well, it seems that we have to calculate this kind of extreme weather conditions. Yeah, we don't have to calculate that we have it every year, but every decade, every few decades. Just a year before, the same event happened 2 kilometers away from you. So it seems that we are not very fortunate with that kind of stormwater event. So this is just to show you that we should use all the opportunities that we have with environmental technologies, and green roofs is one of the technologies that can help with regard to the stormwater management, and that can also help with regard to the urban heat island effect. So let me now come to something different, and that is the market development, the green roof market development. Here you can see the basic conditions for the development of a green roof market, for the successful development of a green roof market. And I already introduced that yesterday at the vendors event. And you see, in the best case, all these different factors are developed at the same time. So we have state-of-the-art technology, we have guidelines, marketing, course, benefits and research, and professional installation, and green roof policy, the political support. All these factors are very important. I just want to stress one of them. It's green roof technology, and I think one of the basic things that you should bear in mind is that when you look at nature and you think that you want to put this natural system on top of your roof, you cannot transfer this one to one. It's not possible because of the heavy load, and therefore you have to, you find a combination of a natural system and a technical system with these different layers that we use. It's the protection layer, the drainage layer, filter sheets, substrates, and plants. So this is the basis for the success of the green roof market in Germany. These systems are applied on a large scale in Germany, and they're also fixed within the standards and regulations. Well, we see that during the years, apart from the basic applications, the extensive type of green roof and the intensive type of green roof, so the roof gardens, we have also seen the development of a lot of advanced technologies, like the combination of green roofs and photovoltaics, for example, walkways and driveways on roofs, or safety device or pitched roof. So at the moment we can say that we really have a solution for all the wishes of the investors, for the wishes or the desires of the architects, and I think this is a very good situation. Well, we can apply this technology when we modify this technology to the local climates. We can apply it all over the world. You can see in North Europe or in North America or in Asia. Everywhere it's possible to use this technology, but we must take into consideration that we have to look for the local plants, that we have to look for the local substrates, and also, of course, for the local regulations. Well, professional installation is also a very important issue, because when you have a good technology, you also need trained staff in order to apply this technology. And we in Germany, we have a special name for these peoples. We call them roof gardeners. So they work on the roof, but they do the gardening work. So they are, from their background, they are landscape contractors. So they know all the relations between the plants, the substrates, of course, the drainage and the water content, and they can give recommendation, they can give advice to the investors in order to create a sustainable system on top of their roofs. Well, that was just a sidestep to the green roof technology and also to the green roof market. Now, I would like to come to the main issue of today's presentation, and this is, of course, the political support or the green roof policies. Just a moment. Well, when we look at this picture, the background of all the installations you see that all the low pitched roof have a green roof, and that the pitched roof on the right side, they don't have a green roof. But the whole installation, it was not by the voluntary decision of the building owners. It was by the decision of the municipality. The municipality made it mandatory within that development area that all roofs up to a slope of 20 degrees have to be equipped with a green roof. So therefore, you see this beautiful picture, and this is very often happening in Germany, but I will later expand on that. Also, the next picture shows you a very famous company in Germany. Do you happen to see which company this is? Mercedes, exactly. There's the star on the building in the middle. And you might know that Mercedes is not very famous for environmental friendly cars, or do you? So they have just on their facilities in the region of Stuttgart, I think, approximately 200,000 square meters of green roofs. And I think not one of them is by voluntary decision. It's all because the government or the municipality of Stuttgart made this mandatory, and so the company stick to these regulations. Well, if we look at the different possibilities that municipalities or government have to promote green roof, we can separate three categories. We have the regulations, we have the incentives, and we have also the public relation work. So these are the basic instrument tools that we can use to promote green roof. But in the end, what we also see, if we look at the different cities all around the world, is that not all of them are using all these instruments, and they use it to a different extent, and they also use it in different combinations. So what I'm going to show you now or later are some examples from cities that put together a few of these instruments, and then we will see whether they were successful or what kind of approach they aimed at. So we just finished a survey in Germany where we asked all cities with more than 100,000 inhabitants about their green roof policies. And we asked which kind of instruments they use, and we asked also something special. We asked them about their attitude towards green roofs. And what we receive, you will see this in the next slide, well, that was very positive. So 90% of the municipal authorities said that green roofs are important for the urban environment. So that's very good. People seem to be convinced about the green roof issue. And another thing that was very positive is when you look at this slide, here you can see the evaluation, whether the use of green roof has changed over the past 20 years. And the city said, well, the big majority, you see 61% say there was an increase within the green roof installation. 27% say it's more or less stable, and there were only 6% that say there was a decrease. When we look at the future, at the forecast, how will the green roof market develop in Germany, still 45% of the cities expect an increase of the installation of green roofs. So we are very positive about these results, and it seems that, yeah, but when you remember the slides that I showed you in the beginning about the environmental problems, so they are not solved, our environmental problems. So there must be still an increase in the application of green roofs. Well, here's a diagram that shows you the application of these four major instruments that we have in Germany. And you see the land use plan. The land use plan, this is used for new development areas. There you can make green roofs mandatory for the roofs of the buildings. You see a lot of these cities use this land use plan as a very important instrument. And I've learned from Tom and from the people here that regulations are not very, how do you say, people don't like regulations in the United States. They like a more flexible approach. I can say this is maybe a little bit different in Germany because we also don't like regulations, but we are not complaining about them. So once they are settled, we stick to them, and then we have no problems anymore with the regulations. And so in the beginning, of course, there was a big controversy about whether you could make something mandatory within the land use plans. But after this has been established now over 25 or 30 years, the discussions have just finished. Yeah, what is also important, and I think this is something that for all the cities is true, is that we have to look which instrument we can use in which area of the city. For example, the land use plan. We can use the land use plan in Germany only in areas where we have new developments, and we cannot use it in areas where we have already existing buildings. There we can work, for example, with incentives or the stormwater fee. So it really depends on the place in the city, which kind of instrument you can use, and it really also depends on the environmental problems that you have at that special location. what instrument would be the best to support the green roof idea. Let me start with the examples now. So this is the first stop is Munich. Munich in South Germany. I think most of you know Munich because of the very famous beer festival. Okay, that's the capital of Bavaria. That's a federal state in South Germany. And what you can see here, the Green Roof Statute. They already established that 15 years ago. And I spoke to one of the persons who is responsible for this Green Roof Statute, and I asked him, well, what are your feelings about this Green Roof Statute? Is it successful? And he says, well, after we established this Green Roof Statute, all discussions were finished. So now this strategy is fixed within the municipal, between the different municipal departments. There are no discussions anymore. The investors know that when they come to Munich, when they have a flat roof, then they have to install a green roof. What you can see, there's a have to or are to within this regulation. So for new urban developments, it's a have to. But when you have an existing building plan and the investor wants to build up a new building, then he has, this roof are to be landscaped. So it's a recommendation. So it gives some freedom, of course, to the investors. But on the other hand, what I think is very positive, the standard is a green roof. So it's not that you have to bring the green roof into the discussions. Well, you have to exclude it. And this must be for a certain reason when you want to exclude it. Well, what you see on the next slide, and this is now a repetition for the green roof policies, is that Munich is using a lot of different instruments to promote green roofs. The building law, the nature conservation law. Also, you have direct financial incentives. You have reduced stormwater taxes, favored credit terms, density bonus. Well, a lot of instruments, but again, I would like to highlight that, for example, when green roofs are made mandatory within a land use plan, you don't get incentives. So the incentive tool is only working for voluntary green roofs that are built by the voluntary decision of the house owner. So what you can see is, that Munich is very advanced with green roofs, that they're using a lot of different instruments, and I think they are on a very good way. And what for me was one of the most important things is that the person at the municipality told me, well, within the administration and within the city council, there are no discussions anymore about green roof. It's just settled, it's just fixed after they've done this for 15 years now, so it's a kind of a standard. And I think this is one of the most important results of this green roof policy in Munich. Let me now move on to another instrument, that's the stormwater tax system. Berlin also had an incentive program, but they ran out of money for a number of years now, and so they came up with the idea of this stormwater tax system. And I hope that I make the conversion, the money and the square meter conversions correctly. So in euro, it will mean that you save approximately €1 per square meter each year. This is important. This is not an incentive that you get once. You get it every year because you have to pay this stormwater fee every year. So if you sum up, the incentive could be even higher than for other incentives programs where you have just 15 or 20 euros a year. Again, what you see is that you have also other instruments that are applied in Berlin. For example, the building law, the nature conservation law, reduced stormwater taxes, and they have a large number of demonstration projects. And I think this is very important for education. And the demonstration projects are also for innovative new products, innovative new technologies. So you see the ones that are surrounded by the red frame, they are more important according to our discussions with the municipality. Well, this is now I go to another country and go to Rotterdam in the Netherlands. They have a similar problem, I think, like you have in Portland. Or the main driver there is stormwater management. And when you look at the program, well, more than 400,000 square feet per year. That's really an ambitious program for a city. And they say the final target, they want to do this over 20 years. So it's more than 8 million square feet within the next 20 years. So that's a very ambitious program that they're running now. And what you see within the next slide is that they don't have so many different instruments in work at the moment. They have the direct financial incentives, and they're starting already with some demonstration projects. I think, it's critical if you have just 1 or 2 instruments and maybe the city is running out of money, then the whole green roof strategy will just disappear. So therefore, it would be good if they also develop something within the building law, if they develop something, for example, within the nature conservation law in order to promote green roofs to make the whole thing more sustainable. Another very ambitious program is in Singapore. You see that 2 different authorities, they gave themselves the target to turn Singapore into a city in a garden. So they would like to have this image for tourists and also for the people who live there to increase the value of green, to increase the number of green spaces. And again, if you look at the program until 2030, 50 hectares, that's also a very ambitious program. So what you can see from these examples is that these cities are thinking really in large scales with regard to green roof and green roof strategies, yes?
Is there any attempt in Singapore to tie this to food events?
Sorry?
Is there any attempt in Singapore to tie this to food events? Because I know Singapore has a lot of concerns about not having enough food.
No, I don't think in Singapore, although they use a lot of the intensive green roofs, so they try to establish the intensive green roof. I'm not sure if they want, I've not seen many examples where they have food production on top of these roofs. So I think it's not their main approach. The main approach is to create a leisure area for the people who live there, not so much the food production. But it's true what you mentioned, they have problems with the water, they have problems with the food production because they're very strong, depending on all the countries that are around them, Malaysia, for example, and that is one of the reasons why they say we have to be quite environmental friendly with the small place where we live in. So what you can see here is that they have more instruments in place than the people in Rotterdam, but still less than the people or the municipalities in Germany. They have already made some green roofs mandatory within the building law. They have the direct financial incentives, demonstration projects, press, internet, density bonus. So it is a good set of information, and I would call this, and maybe I just go back, I call this already a green roof strategy. So because when they came up with this program, they say we must combine these different instruments. We must find one instrument that we can apply for the voluntary decision, for the central parts where we cannot use the land use plan or the building plans, and we must find also instruments for where we can make green roofs mandatory for the new developments. And I think also in Portland, from what I've learned here, is that you already have a green roof strategy, so that you bring together the different instruments that you have, for example, the demonstration projects or the Grade to Green program, the financial incentives, in order to make green roofs happen all over Portland, and not just in the new development areas, but also in the already existing development areas. Well, I hope I listed this correctly. Instead, you find a mistake, Amy or Tom, please give me some advice. But I think it is a very good combination that you already use here in Portland. I'm fascinated about this event, the Ecoroof Week, and all the public relation work that you are doing, and you are so creative here in Portland. We can learn a lot from you. Also, the cities in Germany or the cities all around the world, we can learn from your experiences. That's great. Tom?
So it's, the red means that we have that program? Red?
That is very important, or that it has a lot of impact.
So we do have the stormwater, we don't call it a tax, it's a we do stormwater fees.
Okay.
Would be red, and then density bonus, we have a very strong density bonus.
Yeah, okay. So I can change that for the next presentation.
So when you go back to Singapore.
Yeah, genau. Exactly. So, yeah, what we do recommend for the development of a green roof policy is a combination of these three instruments: regulations, incentives, and public relation work. I think this is the best way to promote green roofs all over the city, in existing building areas and also new development building areas. And this must be established not just in one department, this must be established in several departments, for example, in the departments that are responsible for the buildings, the departments that are responsible for gardening, the departments that are responsible for the environment. Yeah.
I'm curious as to why you have not included the issue of municipally funded research. I mean, I know that Toronto, for example, made a huge difference in their work in the late 1990s of documenting research, stormwater and so on. I mean, Tom Lipton in 2002 was going around talking about it. Is there, what reason have you chosen to not include that as a bullet point?
I thought I have included it within the demonstration projects. So you can say, well, that's not exactly research, but very often you have demonstration projects that are done by universities, and all the findings then afterwards are published, and they lay the background for municipal strategies. So yeah, I thought, so that was the idea. Okay. Yeah, we also face a lot of challenges with these instruments, and these are the results of the challenges that we have in Germany. And I think sometimes maybe they are similar to the challenges that you have in North America and in Asia. Of course, there's a conflict between detailed descriptions and easy applications. When we made our green roof policy guideline for the German municipalities, they say, well, don't be so complicated. Don't write all the different features like the plants and the substrate height and the materials. We want to have it quick and easy. Just write down 6 centimeters of soil and extensive green roof. But we say, well, that's a problem because we think we need quality. And if you as a city make things mandatory, if you talk about regulations, you must really be aware of the set of information that you provide to the investor. Because when we look at the next point, it's the determination of control and maintenance parameters. So again, a big challenge for the municipalities when they're running out of staff, when they don't have the staff capacities to control this. And also the amount of penalty for non-compliance. So we had heard from Tokyo, for example, they had a very ambitious green roof law also. It was fixed within the building code, but the penalty was so low that all the investors said, well, we just pay the penalty, it's fine, because it's just maybe 1% of the money that we have to spend for the green roof is the penalty. So, and if you make these kind of regulations, then you can already see that it will fail. And also the continued availability of financial budgets. In Stuttgart, they had run a program for green roof policies over 23 years, and they just finished it 2 years ago because they ran out of money. Although Stuttgart is, of course, not one of the poorest cities in the world. But they say, well, we need our money for other things. So they stopped this program. And this is something that will also be highlighted within the next slide, that we have the danger of eco-dumping if cities are competing with each other, if they try to lower their environmental regulations. And I think, therefore, it's very important to create a kind of a network between cities in order to have the same environmental regulations in cities that are nearby. Otherwise, maybe there's always the danger that the investor starts a kind of a trade-off between the cities and choose the city with the lowest environmental regulations for his investment. I think this is not something that we should support. And last but not least, of course, the sustainable anchorage within the urban planning. And this is unfortunately a sad example, I think, now from Toronto in Canada, where they have made so many efforts with their research and the green roof bylaw. And now there was a change in the city council, and there was a set-off of this green roof bylaw, well, just for the industrial buildings, not for the private and residential buildings, because their lobby work was strong enough so that they now had this regulation set off for another year. And I don't know whether it will, whether it will be successful next year. So that is the problem. And if you look at the arguments, it's the eco-dumping, it's the city competition. So that is the reason. Yeah, unfortunately, I finished this green roof policy thing with a not so positive slide. Now I would like to show you something completely different. And maybe you have seen this picture, and I would like to give you a short background. What I'm now presenting to you is not a green roof policy in Germany, it's a photovoltaic policy. But I think we can learn, maybe we can learn from this photovoltaic policy, from this photovoltaic incentive, something for our green roof business. Maybe we can transfer something. Because if you look at this picture, well, it could also be a green roof, but the farmer decided to put the photovoltaics on top of his chicken house. And the reason is because it pays off. For him, it was a good investment. The background is that we have these feed-in tariffs. People that produce electricity by photovoltaics in Germany, they receive a guaranteed amount of money every year for 20 years by the government. So they can sell their electricity to the grid. And what you can see, the system is open for everybody. We have low barriers. And what is very important is that the industry has become, through this incentive program, a long-term perspective for the production of photovoltaic cells. And so the prices went down very fast. Well, I could not expand on that because it's something very sophisticated. But what I would like to show you are just some numbers, and I think you will be surprised how much money is within this play. And what is very important is, and I talked to Paul about this, you know that sometimes we have the problem that the investor don't care for maintenance of the green roofs, so that he's not interested in the to keep the ecological value on a high level. When you look at this system, the photovoltaic system in Germany, the farmers, of course, are very interested to produce as much electricity as they can, because the money that they get is based on the electricity that they sell. So if we could find something for the green roof business that we say the investor or the house owner benefits from a high ecological value that he guarantees over the year, that would be a very good thing. So you had a question?
Could you give an example of what it costs to put that solar array and the photovoltaic on that roof, and what they get out of it, what's the financial advantage?
It depends, in the end, it depends on the size of the photovoltaics. But in the beginning, the payoff period was 10 or 11 years, and the investment run over 20 years. So that was a very attractive thing for people. They'll say, okay, after 10 years, I have all the money back that I have invested, and then the next 10 years, it's just a bonus. It's just a profit. Yeah. How much money is within the play? Well, these are billions. And you may be surprised, where is all the money coming from? All this money, so it's 37 billion euros that are within the play for renewable energy. And the surprising thing is that I pay for that. Not with all my salary, but all people in Germany are paying for that, just by using electricity, because it's part of our electricity bill. So it's a shared burden principle. And I have to pay a year approximately 100 euro extra now at the moment, but this sums up to these big numbers. So I think that we cannot transfer this exactly to green roofs, would be fantastic. But if we just could make something that is 1% or 10%, it would be great. And what you also can see, that was a job machine. This is the increase in jobs in renewable energy are based on this special law, the feed-in tariffs. We have an increase from 2004 to 2009 for 140,000 people working now in Germany within the renewable energy sector. So it's just, don't get me wrong, I just want to give you an idea. When you have a successful law, and maybe you can find some of the features and transfer them to green roofs, would be great. Not all of them, but maybe some of them. So that was just a short introduction. So I now come to the trends and challenges. So, and this is the smooth, the smooth transition to green roofs and photovoltaics, because you can imagine what happened after the program went into force, the renewable energy program. There was a big competition for roofs in Germany, flat roofs. People say, well, no, don't use a green roof. Install photovoltaics. You earn a lot of money. And so there was a competition for the roof surface. And it was up to the green roof industry to develop a solution. It was not up to the photovoltaic industry, because this was a kind of a self-selling process. But the green roof industry had the challenge to establish a new technology to combine these both things. Otherwise, there would have been not so many green roofs during the last years in Germany, because when you give an investor the option to earn a lot of money or to do something for the environment, I think the decision is quite clear. So here you can see this special combination that was developed. It works with the low growing, with the extensive type of green roof or the low maintenance green roof. You need, of course, a distance from the panels to the plant, to the plant layer in order to avoid shading effects. But you have a higher efficiency, and I think this is what's happening at the moment at Portland State University, that they are trying to really find out how high the numbers are for the efficiency of photovoltaics on green roofs. But of course they must be higher, because you store water on top of the green roof or within the green roof, and if the water transpirates, then you have the cooling effect. So in fact it must be better, but we're still waiting for the detailed numbers. Well, this is one of the biggest installations that has been done in combination. Don't worry, it was just after the installation. So it's not that you say, well, okay, that green roof is very brown. That was just after the application of the substrates. So now it looks much better. We have this combination, extensive green roof, and it's really, when you look at the picture below, it's really a huge installation. Well, another thing that I would like to show you is stormwater management with green roofs. This is also an urban development in the region of Stuttgart. People come to Stuttgart. I very often go with them and show them this example. So here are the basic numbers of this development area. There's a building density of 274. The whole catchment area is 50.3 hectare, and the paved area is only 3.2 hectare. So there's if you look at this, there's only the ceiling percentage is only 20% for the whole development, and I think this is a very good number. Only 20% sealed surface. So what you can see, green roofs at up to 1.8 hectare. This means 18,000 square meters, and they are only part of the complete system. So you have also cisterns and you have pervious paving. What is impressive, apart from the combination of these different technologies that made it possible that all the stormwater stays within the building development, what is impressive are also the numbers that you can see here, and I'm sorry I did not transfer that into dollars, but at the moment it's 1.4, I think. So if you multiplicate this with 1.4, you get the US dollars. And you see there are different kinds of savings. On one hand, you have savings in the investment costs. On the other hand, you have savings because of the stormwater fee, and they sum up to more than €1 million within this building area. So again, a very good example that the green roof pays off just when we look at the stormwater management. But you must be aware of that we have, of course, the filtering of pollutants, that we have, of course, a cooling effect for the city climate, a protection for the waterproofing, all that kind of stuff, new habitats for insects and plants. So this, the big benefit only with regard to the money, and then the big benefit for the environment, they both sum up to a very sound solution in that development area. You mentioned the question of urban agriculture. This is one of the new trends that we see all around the world, to use this roof surface also for the production of food. Or you can use it for environmental education. I think Paul will present an example later within his presentation that these green roofs are very good for environmental education of school children. And yeah, they are also very important for real estate marketing. I had the chance to visit this project in Singapore. It's not a fake, it's a real building. So one could think, well, okay, that's Photoshop, thank you very much. But this is a real building, and 3 towers, each of them 55 stories high. So the whole platform is in 200 meters, and it's a park. It's a park for the people who stay in this hotel. This is a hotel complex. So it's yeah, that's kind of the real estate marketing. They say, well, when we want to make it attractive for the people who stay in our hotel, we should give them access to nature. And
that's a casino, though, right?
a casino, yeah, exactly. There's a casino, musical, shopping mall, so a combination of different aspects. And there's a swimming pool on top of this building, 200 meters long. So, and trees and palms, so. Fantastic. Yeah, of course they use a kind of a container principle there. So they, I think they have 1.5 or 2 meters of soil. Yeah. Yeah. But the whole project was terribly expensive. So, and don't get me wrong. This has nothing to do with environmental awareness or something like that, or sustainability. No, this is just a project that shows that you can convince, or that also an investor takes it serious to include nature within its design. What I think is a much better example is the Highline project. I like this project very much because it's really sustainable, and it's the complete different usage, and I think it is so fantastic. And I also heard that a lot of cities are thinking about what can we do something similar in Rotterdam? Can we do something similar in Berlin? So it's really a prime example for a very good design, for a very attractive, a very attractive approach to bring nature back into the neighborhood. And we were very happy to give our IGRA award, Green Roof Leadership Award, to John Elschaller. He's one of the chairmen of the Highline, Friends of the Highline Foundation, and yeah. We think this is a really prime example for green roofs. Yeah, that brings me to the end of my presentation. If you want to learn more about green roof, I could recommend this literature to you. We have some articles about architecture, a whole chapter about green roof policies and planning installations, and also guidelines. So you can see some extracts on our website. Well, last but not least, I want to thank you very much for your attention, and I would like to invite you to join our green roof communities. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them now. Thank you.
It's working? There it is. Okay. We're going to just try to hear questions so everyone can hear them. So.
Thank you. I had a question about invasive plants and how you control them. And with the policies that are in place in the cities, do they require the failure, or do they have failure standards and replacement standards if invasives become a problem?
Yeah, the invasive plants are connected to the installation and to the materials. So normally, when the municipalities make their regulations, they say that installation should be done according to the standards that we have. We have a green roof standard in Germany. So if there are problems with invasive, then sometimes the installers has used the wrong materials, the wrong substrates or so. So that's up to the house owner whether he could, whether it's acceptable for him or whether he asks his contractor to redo the whole thing or do the maintenance, a more intensive maintenance. In Germany, we say maintenance should be done once or twice a year for the extensive or the low maintenance type of green roofs. So that is the standard. And we recommend also to the architects to include this maintenance already in the contract so that it's not neglected. Yeah.
Yes, one method of seismic dampening is to put a pool on top of the building, and it essentially dampens the seismic wave. Now, if you put a floating garden, basically you have basically a pool liner, top of a layer of insulation, float your garden on top of that. Has that ever been explored in any way?
Sorry, I did not get that. Could you please repeat?
Well, one of the methods in a high-rise for seismic dampening is to put a pool on top. And that splash pool cancels out the seismic wave.
Okay.
Okay. So is there any thoughts of putting a floating garden on top of one of those seismic pools? Obviously, it's not something that may have come across your desk these days. But.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a number of examples. I know that some of the people are creating wetlands on top of their roofs. This is possible. Also for purification of black water. Yeah, is that something that you had in mind?
I'm more thinking you have a pool.
A pool.
To cancel out the seismic wave that comes through the facility and simply float, literally like barges on top of that water.
Yeah.
Float it up. And then you have not just a seismic damping mechanism, you have a floating garden essentially, and it still serves the same seismic function.
I'm not sure if I get you correctly. Maybe we can discuss this later, and maybe you can describe it to me more in detail. Okay.
Questions? I want to make sure we hear the questions, so I'm like a talk show host.
I just want to know what's the price the producer of this from the grid when they put on the line, what price they get compared to what price they pay when they get the electricity.
Sorry, what was the difference in the price?
Yeah, cost of, because here in US there is a lot of difference. Different states have different regulations on the cost or the price they receive when they put the electricity generated from their different art sources into the grid and what they pay for the electricity when they buy it.
Okay.
So how much is the variation there?
Yeah, for the price? Yeah, for the electricity, the price is at the moment, the price that you receive when you sell the electricity to the grid is higher than the price that you have to pay for the use of electricity. Therefore, all people that have photovoltaics, they sell it to the grid. But we expect that the price will be similar within the next 4 or 5 years.
They receive more than what they pay.
At the moment, they receive more than what they pay. That is the attractive thing. So they don't use the electricity for their own. They just sell it to the grid. But I think in the future, maybe in 5 or 6 years, when the price for the photovoltaics went down and the price for the electricity is still increasing, then they will use it for their own. Okay.
In US, it's other way around. Some of the electricity you put on the grid,
Okay.
you get much less than what you pay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed in your presentation there was one slide that showed vegetable gardening on the roofs. Is there a reason that there isn't more emphasis on vegetable gardening? Is it a marketing issue, or what's the reason that they don't do that more?
I see that it's different from country to country. So I think in Germany, a vegetable garden on top of the roof is very rare. The example that I showed within this picture, that is already 20 years old. The lady is very happy with her garden, and it was just for this project because they sealed her garden on ground level, and her husband said, well, you don't need a garden, and she said, but I need a garden. So he had to install it on top of the roof.
So that was a residence there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was just a private vegetable garden. Yeah.
But I think his question was more forward, one step more. You're putting Ecoroof, can you use for crop production or vegetable production also?
Exactly.
Why not?
Yeah, it's possible, but you have to take a few things into consideration. One is the fertilization. You have to be very cautious with the fertilization so that it don't runs through the whole system just into with the stormwater. Yeah, so that is one of the issues that you have to bear in mind. And the other one is, of course, what kind of plants you can use on top of this building. That is also depends on the building, and it depends on the substrate that you have. Yeah.
We'll get one last question, and then we'll thank Wolfgang for his time.
Hello. First of all, thank you for a superb presentation. I know that historically, the further north you go, the more there were traditions of building green roof onto structures, of residences that had, I mean, you literally look at the pictures of old buildings up in Bavaria with goats.
Yeah.
Has there been any government-sponsored effort to promote eco-roofs as a heritage thing, that let's go back to our traditions? This is something we used to do, let's go back to doing that again.
I know that at the moment when we look at the Scandinavian countries like Denmark or Norway, they have a long traditions with this green roof, these grass roofs. But yeah, they are very interested to learn more about modern green roof technology, because they have also these modern buildings, flat roof buildings, and so they are more interested to learn more about the low maintenance green roof. So I'm not sure if this is a wide field of application to restore the traditional way of buildings.
I guess I'm more wondering if this has been used as a public relations thing.
Okay. Yeah, in these tourist areas, of course, you can use that, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Wolfgang. I appreciate it.